Hi friends, welcome to my channel, Yaya's Heart Tarot. Today I'm bringing messages from the departed. We'll be doing 2 readings today, but before we get into the readings, as has become usual, I would like to share with you some visions that I had in my preparatory meditation. I believe these visions appear to me to help some of you know who might be coming through for you in the tarot readings. So these visions typically don't involve a lot of action or storyline. Mostly they're just sort of flashes that may indicate something that you shared with your departed loved one, or something about them, or perhaps occasionally something to do with the way that they passed. So excuse me, I am just getting over a cold and my throat is still a little bit scratchy from time to time. So the first vision that I had was of a kid's ride-on toy that was a fire truck. It was a plastic toy, basically. It had big black wheels. That was kind of the first thing that I saw, was 4 big black wheels. The wheels were actually bigger than the little truck part in the center. But it was a fire truck. I think I saw perhaps a little fire hat that went with it. So it could be that this was a toy that you played on when you shared time with your departed loved one, or a gift from them, or it may be a nod to their occupation. They may have been a firefighter. It could be, again, it could be a link to the way that they passed, although in this case most likely not. Again, so it was a children's ride-on fire truck toy. The next vision that I had was of a koi pond with lily pads and lotus flowers in the pond. They were pink, the flowers were. I saw just the tiniest little bit of a koi fish coming up or peeking up between some of the lily pads in this pond. I can't really tell you much of what the pond looks like because I didn't see much of it. Mostly I saw the surface of the water in one small part with just these lily pads and these beautiful pink lotus flowers and one little koi. Actually, it's a fairly good sized koi, but I didn't see all of it. I just saw part of its face as it peeked up through the lily pads. The next vision that I saw was possibly a lava lamp, or it may have been, I don't know if any of you would be familiar with, there were old sort of hanging fixtures that you filled with oil, and as the oil warmed up it would circulate and come down. I had a great aunt and uncle, or a great great aunt and uncle, I don't know for sure. They had one in their living room, and it had sort of a fountain type statue in the center, and then it had wires that went all the way around it that came down, and this oil would run down the wires looking like drops coming down the oil. So it may have been something like that. It was a very 60s 70s kind of a vibe, I got the impression of warmth. So it was something that had to heat up in order for it to work, and then once it did, there was a lot of flowing movement to it. So some sort of like I said, like a lava lamp or one of these oil fixture things. I also saw just a bunch of like multi-level gold carpet. It was just a very 60s 70s vibe again, of this particular vision. So I don't know if you had a loved one who had a home that looked like that, a loved one who was perhaps a bit of a hippie. The lava lamp reference there. The other possibility with this is that since there was a very distinct vision, I shouldn't say a distinct vision, there was a definite piece to this vision of something that required getting fairly hot in order for it to melt. And so it could be that there is something to do with the way your loved one passed, or perhaps an event that happened during their life, where there was possibly a fire involved, perhaps even oil and maybe even a grease fire or something like that, because there was a definite component of oil or liquid, a thick viscosity of a liquid somehow, also with regard to this vision. So that could be part of it too. The gold carpet, again, the gold color might have been something to do with fire also. This may have been something to do with candles as well, since I saw kind of a melting, like I said, a melting kind of a thick liquid, although I don't specifically recall seeing any actual fire in this vision. So it may or may not have anything to do with fire. For some of you it might, for some of you it might not. For some of you it might not resonate at all, but that's what I saw. The next vision that I saw was a man who was wearing a fishing hat, and he had on very, very dark sunglasses, and he was standing on a dock or near a dock that looked like it was in a lake, not an ocean scene at all. The water was very still. It was definitely a lake, probably a lake. I don't know, it reminded me of a lake up north here in the U.S., like in Minnesota or something along those lines. So that may be an indication of, the actual appearance of someone who was your departed loved one. If you had a departed loved one who had one of those fishing hats that everybody liked to put their fishing lures in, sort of a floppy old canvas hat, dark sunglasses. You couldn't see through them at all, and the frames were black as well. Or if you had a loved one who you visited at a favorite lake, if they had a cabin or something at a lake, and this is where you spent time. Also, again, could be a nod to the way someone passed, if there was a drowning, or something to do with water, a boating accident, although there was no boat in this vision. Very, very still, pastoral kind of a setting. And actually, this individual was sort of out of character with the setting, because they looked not really comical, but definitely not, earthy and pastoral looking. The next vision that I had was just a flash of a buffalo. It reminded me of South Dakota, the Rapid City area, where Mount Rushmore is, and all of that area. So it could have possibly been there. But it was just a flash of a buffalo standing in, their natural environment with some kind of mountainous things in the background. Oh, excuse me. Always comes in twos. Okay. So that was all I saw of that one. I don't know what that would have to deal with. Buffalo are an important symbol for indigenous people. Some indigenous people here in the U.S. So it could be if you have a relation who passed on who was Native American. It could have something to do with that. If you had a loved one who had pictures of a buffalo or some sort of a buffalo hide piece of furniture or a rug or something along that lines, or someone who gave you a toy buffalo, that could also be part of the message here with that vision. Some connection to buffalo. The next vision I saw was also very brief, and I really didn't even get a very good sense of this individual. I don't know if it was male or female, but this individual appeared to be, I would say, probably 30s, late 20s, early 30s perhaps, but they had Down syndrome features. And they were wearing glasses with light colored frames. So That was all I saw of that. I don't know where this was. I don't know what environment they were in. I don't know what they were doing. It was just, I just saw the face. And so if you had a loved one who passed who had Down syndrome, then that could be the connection here. The next vision I saw was a little girl. I would guess she was probably 5, 6-ish, somewhere in there. She had very fine features and very fine wavy hair, almost like doll hair. It was a lighter color, although I don't feel like it was really whitish blonde. It was more of either a light brown or perhaps a strawberry blonde. But very wavy and just very, very fine hair. She had strikingly blue eyes and just creamy white skin, just beautiful little doll features. And she was just looking up and smiling. So I don't know what that meant. I had a distinct impression that this girl had doll-like features, like antique doll-like features. So it could be excuse me, that this little girl represented perhaps an antique doll that was passed down to you from a departed loved one, or perhaps an antique doll that a departed loved one had at their home when you went to visit them. Of course, this could signify if there was a little girl who passed on, or if perhaps you were this little girl. That may have something to do with who might be coming through. If there was a departed loved one who always told you looked like a beautiful doll, something along those lines. Or it could be a name. If you had a departed loved one whose name was Dolly, that could possibly be something to do with this vision as well. And then the last vision that I saw was of a very large man. He had his shirt off. He had a very ruddy complexion. His face was just bright red, so I got the impression he was outside and it was hot. He had just a ridiculously heavy amount of hair on his chest and onto his shoulders. It was a light-colored hair. It was sort of a reddish blonde hair, but it was like curly and like thick and fluffy hair. It was just one of those kind of people who just have just a ton of body hair. It went onto his shoulders and on down his arms. And he was a fairly large man. And that's about all I saw, just the striking amount of hair that he had on his chest and how red his face was. So this could be just someone that passed on that you knew. So the description of this individual may give you an indication of who this might be. The tremendously red face, and it was red to the point of being purple. So that could also be an indication of who this might be. If there was a loved one that you had who suffocated, or if they had like a heat stroke or a heart-related incident with regard to working too hard in the heat, oftentimes, that really red face will show up. And then, of course, excuse me, the very hairy chest and arms could be some indication of who this might be as well. Perhaps you had a relative whose name was Harry, or something along those lines. That could be what this vision was indicating. So hopefully those will help you maybe to narrow down or have an idea of who might be coming through. By the way, if any of you does resonate with any of these, and especially if it turns out that the reading goes along with what you are expecting based on these visions, I would love to hear about it in the comments. I'm always curious as to if any of these visions resonate with people, and I'm always hopeful that they do, but I have no idea. So if one of these does resonate with you and you're ever inclined to leave me a message about it, I would love to hear that. That would be it's fascinating to me to see if any of these actually do resonate. So let's move on to the actual group readings here. We're going to have two groups again, as I mentioned, and the first group here is a garden quartz or an included quartz or a scenic quartz, it's sometimes called. It is a beautiful stone. It has just amazing inclusions. It's got chlorite inclusions here, which are green. It's got hematite inclusions over here on this side, which is red, and then it's got, I think, limonite inclusions in the center, which are yellow. It is truly an amazing piece. I wish that you could see the depth of this. Anyway, so that one's really cool. But so that's the garden quartz. Group 1 is garden quartz, and then group 2, also a fascinating, beautiful piece. This is a tourmalated clear quartz point. Again, I don't know how well you can see the tourmaline in this piece, but it has black tourmaline throughout the piece, with long strands of tourmaline through there. So tourmalated quartz is group 2. So take whatever time you need to decide which group calls to you. If you want to listen to both groups, obviously that's fine. The groups will be linked below in the description box with a timestamp. So once you decide on your group, just click on the timestamp. It'll take you directly to your reading. So group 1, the garden quartz, and group 2, the tourmalated quartz. And I will see you at your reading. Hi group 1, this is your reading, the garden quartz. The first message that we would like to get for your reading today is who is the departed that's coming through for you. This will represent, we need messages to represent who the departed is that's coming through for group 1, please. Who is coming through for group 1? Okay. So we got the King of Cups. We got the Two of Pentacles. And we got the Seven of Pentacles. So the individual that is coming through is most likely a man. He was a very, very caring and loving individual. He was jovial and just kind. He brought the family together, or brought the group together. He always opened his home. He was very generous. He helped to keep everybody well balanced. He was always the type who could, if there was any sort of a disagreement that started up, he always kind of was able to divert people's attention, and not in the sense that he would lead them off somewhere and get them interested in something else. He was just kind of more the type that was able to redirect people so that they weren't caught up in a dispute. Redirect them back to having fun again, where they were before the dispute started, and get people to move on in a happier place. If there was any disagreements, he always kept everything really balanced for everyone. So that's who this is that's coming through for this reading. So Spirit, thank you for that message. Can we have some cards to represent the relationship that group 1 had with their departed loved one? What relationship did they have with this departed loved one? What was the relationship between group 1 and their departed loved one, please? Okay, let's see. Well, this is interesting. We got the Tower, and we got the Star, and we got the Page of Cups, and we got the Eight of Swords. Spirit, can I have a little bit more information on this? I'm not entirely sure what the relationship is here. Okay, we got the Temperance and we got the Five of Cups. You definitely had to leave this individual at one point. Not... You either didn't want to leave or you regretted leaving. Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think that you up and left. I believe there was a conflict or a falling out that you had with this individual, and you left. You just left. You were perhaps impetuous about it. You were just so angry, or sad, or you felt you were being restricted. I don't know what. I'm not sure what the falling out was. It may have had something to do with a dream that you had. You may have had a dream that this individual may have told you that it might not work out for you, that you should perhaps hedge your bets, and just in case this didn't work out, you should have something to fall back on. I think that that's what this Temperance card that we got that came out here is. So I think that that's what happened. I think you had a dream, a young person wanting to be a rock star, or you wanted to start your own business, or you wanted to travel, or whatever it is. You had some dream that you wanted to, that you were very, very passionate about. This Page of Cups. That's what this is. You're very passionate about this dream, and it was a new start for you, and you were so excited. I mean, you were so excited, and you went to this individual with this idea. You were so excited, and you thought that they would support you 100%. But they didn't entirely shoot you down, but they told you that if it didn't work out, it would be a good idea to have something else to fall back on. And this caused just, it shattered your expectations of what you thought was going to happen when you went to talk to this individual and tell them. I'm getting the feeling that there were not a lot of other people who were on board with this idea, but you thought that this individual would be. And so when you went to them and you told them about it, and they said, okay, but just make sure that that you've got something else that you can fall back on if it doesn't work out. You were destroyed. You were devastated. You were so hurt or angry or whatever that this person didn't just jump right on the bandwagon with you and say, oh, what a great idea, you should go do this. And so you were extremely hurt by that, and so you left. And I have a feeling that you didn't speak to this individual again before they died. So that's the relationship that you had with this individual. So Spirit, thank you for that message. What is the query that Group 1 has for their departed loved one? What is their question or query? What do they want to know? What does Group 1 want to know from their departed loved one? Okay, we got the Three of Wands, the Fool, and the Eight of Wands. I feel like you may have wanted to know if, you may want to know if your departed loved one saw what you became or what you did. I feel like you You took a hold of your dream and you made something out of it. And you want to know if your departed loved one knew that. I want to get a little bit more clarity on this. Spirit, thank you for that message. Can I have some more clarity on this question, what Group 1's query is? Can you give me some more clarity, please? More information on what it is they want to know of their departed loved one. Queen of Pentacles. Yeah, I'm feeling like you did make something of your dream. It may not have been quite as big as you originally thought it might be, but you did in fact pursue it, and you did have some success with it. So I think you're wanting to know, A, if they knew that, if your loved one knew that you did have success, and you're wanting to know if they still, I feel like you're wanting to know if they still doubt you, if they still doubt that you did the right thing. Gosh, I'd like to get some more clarity on this. Can I get some clarity on the Fool card, please, Spirit? More information. Why is the Fool card here? Okay, so we got the Wheel of Fortune, got the King of Wands, and the Three of Swords. So you took a chance on this new beginning. And I feel like things happened for you pretty quickly. You had success fairly quickly. But this is a card of regret. I feel like you regret that this individual wasn't a part of that, or didn't know that, or wasn't there to celebrate with you, or be happy for you. I guess, and I think that's what you want to know. I see it now. You want to know if they were happy for you. You want to know if they knew that you had the success and that they were happy for you, because you felt like they may not have actually supported you in this, so that even though you made a go of it and you had some success with it, and maybe a lot of success with it, they may not have been happy for you. You're wondering if they were happy for you because you felt like they discouraged you to begin with. So you're wondering if they're disappointed that you went ahead and did it anyway. And you want to know if they know that you actually did have some success. So I feel like that's your question for them. So thank you for that, Spirit. I feel like we need a different deck. So we want to know, what is your departed loved one's reply? What is their reply to this question? Spirit, what is the departed loved one's reply to Group 1 with regard to their query? So we got the Three of Swords again. That's why I needed a different deck. They are sorry that they didn't support you, but they were looking out for you. They were trying to keep you from finding yourself in a place where, if things didn't work out, you'd be stuck. It's not that they didn't believe in you, but they were just trying to be more practical, so that you wouldn't find yourself trapped if things didn't work out the way you expected them to. But they are incredibly sorry that you were hurt by it, tremendously sorry, because it caused you to leave. But they still wouldn't have done anything differently. They loved you very, very much, and they wanted you to always be safe in this world and to always have enough in this world, even if that didn't come with, realizing some great dream. They just wanted to know that you would always be safe. And so they maintained that they probably wouldn't change anything. They would certainly change the outcome if they could. Terribly wounded and sorrowful that it caused the split between you, but they still always wanted you to be safe. So they wouldn't change that part of it. They still, even if it means that they wouldn't get to see you again, they just desperately wanted to know that you were safe. So that's their reply. Sorry. Sometimes these readings get to me a little bit. So, what's something that they want you to know? Thank you, Spirit, for these messages. And what is something that their departed loved one wants Group 1 to know? What do they want Group 1 to know? Group 1, what does your departed loved one want you to know? Okay. We got the librarian, which is akin to the Hierophant. We got the 4 of Earth, and we got the 9 of Earth. They're just reiterating what they said already. What they want you to know is that they always, always, always wanted you to be safe and secure. They always wanted you to have enough. They always wanted you to... They just wanted you to be safe. I just keep hearing it over and over and over again. They wanted you to be safe and secure. That was so important to them. Because they just loved you so much. So they just want you to know that they always wanted to make sure that you had enough, and that you were not ever, you never got to a place where you were desperate, where you were vulnerable. I'd like to get a little more clarity on this, please. Spirit, could I get some clarification on the 9 of Earth, please? A little more clarification on the 9 of Earth, please. Okay. They felt like you were... They felt like you weren't entirely sure of what you were going to do. They felt like you were charging ahead really fast without knowing what you were getting into, basically. They were afraid that this Mayor of Air, they were afraid that you had these dreams that were they feared that you were disconnected with your dreams from reality. So they were worried that you were going to rush into something without knowing how to do it, how to get there, what it involved, what it entailed. They just really felt that you were just rushing ahead, and they always wanted you to have security and safety and abundance, but mostly they wanted you to be very secure and safe. I mean, this card, I don't know if you can see it, but this little guy has stockpiled all kinds of nuts and fruits for the harsh seasons ahead. So because it's getting to be winter time here, but he is safe and warm. So they just really are saying all over and over and over again that they so much wanted you to be safe and warm and secure, and they just were so afraid that you were rushing off into something that you didn't really know what you were getting into, and that it would lead you to a place that was dangerous and not safe for you. So they just really want you to know that that was the reason that they did what they did and said what they said. It wasn't because they didn't have any belief in you, not at all, but they just couldn't imagine the thought of any harm coming to you. So that's what they want you to know. So I pulled an oracle card ahead of time. Let's see what our oracle card is. So these oracle cards, this is the Santa Muerte oracle, do not have any messages on them. I'll have to grab the book, but this is the 9th card, the 9 card. So 9. Nine is Tlatlak. In in Aztec mythology, Tlaloc, is considered the god of rain and fertility. Benevolent and indulgent towards the prayers and sacrifices that are offered to him, he is still worshipped with fear because although he wandered fields and gave prolifically with one hand, he could cause floods and droughts and summon lightning with the other. So here, again, this is relating to this reading. You know, on the one hand, you could have had great success, but on the other hand, unexpectedly, there could be great tragedy accompanying this, that your loved one was worried for you. The advice of the dead is to pay attention and weigh the forces you wish to put into play because they are like the water. It can irrigate, but in excess it can cause floods, and in absence it may cause drought. So again, this loved one was really just looking out for you. They loved you so much that they were willing to give up a relationship with you if it meant it could keep you safe. So I really hope that this reading helped you. It sounds like there was a rift here that shouldn't have been, but it's understandable. But I hope that this kind of gives you a little bit of closure, and your loved one as well. I am always so happy to be able to bring these readings to you, and I am grateful that you come and listen to them, and I welcome you back at any point. If you ever are in need of any guidance, I absolutely welcome you here, and hope that this resonates for you and brings you some peace and clarity if you need that. Thank you again for spending this time with me, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye. Hi, Group 2. This is your reading, the Tourmalated Quartz reading. Oops, sorry. The first messages that we would like to get are to represent the departed. Who is your loved one that's coming through for Group 2? Group 2, who is the loved one who is coming through for you? Who is Group 2's loved one? Okay. This is most likely a woman. We got divine feminine energy. Also, we got true love card. So this is most likely a woman that you were in love with. Or it wouldn't necessarily have to be a woman, but it was a partnership, and this individual was the more receiving and nurturing of the partnership. They were perhaps more of they were more open, they were more accepting, perhaps. Not to say that the other partner was not, but this person had more of a water energy. They just sort of would go with the flow, just more of a feminine energy. So it wouldn't necessarily have to be a woman. It could also be a man, but if it was a man, it would be a man who was very gentle, quiet, reserved, someone who, again, just kind of went with the flow. They were easygoing. Also, this individual was very balanced. We got the yin-yang card. So they were, again, I think that this just kind of goes with, along with them just going with the flow. They were always okay with whatever, so long as things were not really skewed one way or the other or really unfair, they were fine with that. It was also someone who loved to travel or just be out in nature. They were someone who was just really sort of connected with Mother Earth. So that is who is coming through. So, Spirit, thank you for those messages. Could we please get messages as to the relationship between this departed and Group 2? What was their relationship to the departed? What was Group 2's relationship to this departed, please? One of you in this partnership was jilted by the other. There was a possibility that one of you strayed from the relationship, possibly cheated on the other individual, or just left for a while. You were rekindling the relationship or trying to work through things, but you were avoiding the truth. You were avoiding all of the truth. I shouldn't say all of the truth, but there was something that you were avoiding, that you were not acknowledging. You weren't, one of you was holding back something, possibly both of you, but definitely one of you was holding back something that was blocking the ability to mend whatever happened. So there was a disconnect between the two of you, even though you were true loves, as we discovered here. There was something that happened that shook the relationship to its core. It may have been that one of you strayed from the relationship. It may have been that there was some other action that maybe had nothing to do with the relationship itself, but just had revealed a deep truth that your partner or they revealed some deep truth about themselves that you, one way or the other, there was something that one of you absolutely could not agree with. So it could be that, it could be that, one of you stepped out of the relationship. It could be that one of you discovered that there was something about the other person that they didn't know that had been kept a secret all this time. And so it kind of created a rift between the two of you. You were still together trying to work things out, but there was a definite crack in the relationship because of something one of you did or something one of you hid from the others. There's a definite tone of something that was hidden from the other person in the relationship. Whether that was something you hid from them or they hid from you, I don't know. But there was something that was hidden that created a break in the relationship to a certain extent. It wasn't completely split. I feel like you were still together or trying to work things out at least. But there was a definite wall between you. And it may not have been quite that significant, but there was something that was definitely in between the two of you that was keeping you apart a little bit. I think I need a new deck. Okay. Not that one. I think. No, it was this one. Okay. So, thank you for those messages, Spirit. What is the question or query that Group 2 has for their departed loved one? What do they want to know? Group 2, what do you want to know from your departed loved one? What is the question that you have? Cards flying everywhere. Okay, well, this is interesting. We have the Queen and King of Swords. And we have the Devil. So what you want to know is, what was it that came between you? What was it that was keeping you apart? Or, alternately, what was it that kept you together that was not the truth? That's what you want to know. You want to know what was hidden. You want to know there was some untruth that kept you together because you didn't know the truth. So you are wanting to know what that was. Whew. Okay. So, thank you, Spirit, for that message. What Spirit is the reply from the departed to the query that Group 2 has? What is their reply? Oh boy, we have got some crazy card going on here. All right, let's see what we've got. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, the first card that came out was the Tower. But then we also got the Temperance almost along with it. So what this is saying is that there was something very serious there was something big. There was something big that was threatening to ruin the relationship. But either one or both of you minimized it. You just smoothed everything over and acted like it wasn't a big deal. However, it was a big deal. It hit really hard, and it just took everything out of you or out of your partner. It was a really significant thing. And it came out of the blue. It just came out of the blue, and it just hit so hard that it left one or both of you just feeling bereft. You were so sorry, and sorry's not the word I want. You felt alone. You felt like you had been abandoned. But it was just swept under the rug. But you really, really, really wanted to start over. You wanted to... They wanted to start over. They wanted to begin a new cycle. They wanted to close this chapter and start over a new relationship where you could be happy. I'm getting the feeling that there may have been something to do with one of you had a friend that somehow got involved in this situation. I don't know if for some of you that might mean that somebody strayed and had something to do with this other individual that was a friend of either both of yours or your other partners. And so it created this situation. And maybe they're telling you what it was that happened. Yeah, that's what it is. For some of you, they're saying that there was another individual that was known to both of you, that was either a friend of yours or a friend of theirs or a friend of both of yours, that got brought into your relationship. This happened suddenly and unexpectedly. I'm getting a drinking too much at a party energy kind of a thing here, and I know that won't apply to all of you, certainly, and I don't want to offend anyone, but this also is bringing along a strong sense of regret. There was something that was done, and it was done hastily, and it involved this other individual that both of you knew and both of you were close with, and it created just a tremendous sense of regret, just a huge sense of regret, and it knocked the pins out from under your relationship. But again, you one or both of you denied it, and you never really discussed it, and it just kind of it festered. It was just kind of left to fester. And it never got finished. It never came out. It never got discussed. It was just as though it never happened. And it really felt like it would have been better if it had blown up and gotten out there and things could have gone one way or the other. Either you would have gone and done something and fixed it as best you could, or you would have split and gone your separate ways, but something would have happened. As it was, you felt like there was just this underlying sense of regret and distance and betrayal, but nobody talked about it, so it just kind of festered. Spirit, thank you for that. Can I get some clarity, please, on the world card? I'm not exactly sure why this is there. Can you please clarify the world card? I think I know, but I just want to be certain. Yeah, the Nine of Swords. Yeah, it just, like I said, everything just kind of got left there. It was causing, it was causing this pain, but nobody was acknowledging it. Nobody was willing to talk about it. Just kept wishing that it would go away, but it didn't. Okay, thank you, Spirit, for those messages. What is something that Group 2's departed loved one would like them to know? What does Group 2's departed loved one want Group 2 to know? What is something that they want them to know? I feel like I need a different deck again. Okay, what is something that Group 2's loved one wants them to know? Departed loved one, what do you want Group 2 to know? Okay, a lot of cards here. Oh, goodness. And they're not great. Well, they're not happy, anyway. Okay, so we got the Tower energy again. And we got the Seven of Wands, the Seven of Swords, and the Five of Swords. So, the Seven of Wands... No, wait. Seven of Swords and the Five of Swords. And the Tower. They were caught up in trying to get through this unscathed. They were trying to, by keeping things under wraps, they were trying to keep the relationship intact, no matter what it cost. But in doing so, the pieces that got suppressed were the pieces that caused everything to actually fall apart. There were things that didn't get said that should have gotten said. There was dishonesty. There were secrets that were kept. There were just things that didn't come out. And they didn't come out because your loved one was so trying to keep things together. They were working so hard to stay on this side and keep this side in the dark. There was just really a disconnect. Again, here we've got light and dark. There was a disconnect between the light and the dark. And again, here again, we've got light and dark. You never brought it together. See, here's this huge divide here. These two sides never got brought together because of this initial action that split everything apart. They want you to know that they have learned that they shouldn't have done that. They basically learned their lesson. They've realized that by keeping silent about this, it ended up being this split that's the way things were when they left, was this split. And they have come to realize, they know now that if they hadn't tried so hard to keep everything the same, and that's another message of the Tower, that things are going to fall apart and that makes room for something new. And they realized that if they hadn't tried so hard to keep everything the same, and keep everything together and act like nothing happened, like nothing changed, they realized that if they hadn't done that they could have fixed this relationship, and not left everybody hanging. Spirit, could we have additional clarification, please, for the Hierophant? Could we have additional clarification for the Hierophant? Yes. We got the World. They wanted to complete this cycle. They realize now that they should have brought things, completed the cycle, so that you could have started over again. We got the World here before. But in this position, it was just things going around and around and never completing. So what they want you to know is they know now that they should have brought this to light. It should have been discussed. It shouldn't have been this rift between the two of you. It shouldn't have been left in the dark. So they want you to know that they realize that, and they're very, very sorry that they didn't. They know now that they should have addressed this. The two of you should have addressed it together. It might have ended things in a much different place. You could have started over if this had been brought to light and dealt with. So that's what they want you to know. I drew an oracle card beforehand. So interesting. This is the oracle card that fell out of the deck that I put back in, and I remember thinking to myself, if it's supposed to be here, it'll come back out again, and it did. It did come back out again. So let's look in the book and see what that card's about. It's the One card. One meaning new beginnings, among other things, the start of something. So this is the card of emanation. These first 8 cards represent archetype concepts. That is to say, those abstract, innate, and primitive concepts that form the basis and the origin for any material or immaterial form around us. Oh, let's see. That's not what I want. I'm sorry. This is the card of darkness. The occult center of the creative and inspiring will of the universe that has yet to be created, that is infinite, has no form, and is not differentiated. This card represents what there was before the Big Bang, simultaneously void and full, the end and the beginning, potential and latency. Okay, I want to point out that the end and the beginning is what the World card is all about. And we got the World card twice in your reading. So we're talking about this never-ending cycle, the end and the beginning. So let's see. All is concentrated in a single point, waiting to receive the primordial impulse to manifest itself. For the ascetic or the Magnus, it represents the highest peak attainable through meditation, a state of total vacuousness, a silence that can make the observer aware of the road to awakening. The advice of the dead is to take a moment's pause, meditation or study, as you need, to understand what form to give to your energy and where to apply it. So I think that the way that this relates to your reading is that there was this unfinished business when your loved one left. So this card is telling you to take a moment to... When there's unfinished business, there is energy that is left in limbo. So this card is asking you to decide what you want to do with that energy and finish this cycle. Put a stamp on it, end it. And obviously, you may not be able to talk face to face with your loved one, but you may be able to talk to them through meditation. You may not need to talk to them. Whatever it is that you need to do to complete this cycle, to find some finality, to just to find some peace. Know that your loved one is acknowledging that there was a situation that should have been addressed when they were here. I don't know if this was a situation they created or a situation that you created, but there was a situation that caused a divide between the two of you, and it should have been addressed before they left this world. But it was not, and they know that now. They understand that. So they want you, this oracle card and your loved one is telling you that they want you to find a way to address that situation within yourself and let that energy go. Let it transform. We got the Tower card twice. The Tower card is also about breaking down things that are not a good foundation for you and letting it collapse so that something new can come in. So that seems to be the overriding message of this reading. I hope that this reading has given you some answers and some clarity. I hope it's maybe given you, if you needed, a direction to take with this. I'm sorry that things ended on an unfinished note, it sounds like, for you and your loved one. But I hope that this can help you maybe to finish that cycle so that you can move on to something new. I greatly appreciate your being here with me. I love doing these readings for you. I always welcome you back whenever you feel the need to get some guidance or entertainment, however you look at this. But again, I hope that this has brought you some peace if you need it, some closure if you need it, some clarity if you need it. Whatever you need, I hope that you've gotten from this reading. And I am grateful that you've been here with me, and I hope that you come back soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.